G'day and welcome to another video. In today's lesson we will learn how to make this really awesome scarf. I love the spiral effect and the effect that it gives with the ridges. There are 3 different versions of this scarf. This is the rib that is every other round. There's also one with ribs every round, and there's also a plain one without the ribs, and there's also hats to match the scarves as well. All the links that you need for these will be in the description box. There is also a free written pattern for all of the ones that I've just mentioned, including this scarf. The scarf that I've used in this project is the Red Heart Shimmer. It is so pretty, and it looks fantastic when it catches in the light. Redheart.com is a great place for purchasing yarn, especially the Red Heart Shimmer, and it's also a great place for inspiration for colour and also your next project. So let's get started on the lesson. For our supplies, we're going to need a crochet hook to go with your yarn. I'm going to use a 4.5mm crochet hook. It does work up a little tight because we're using the post stitches, so you might want to use a crochet hook a little bit bigger than what's recommended, but as long as you're around that size or just slightly bigger than what's recommended for your yarn, then that's going to be great. Got a pair of scissors, going to need a yarn needle, going to need 2 stitch markers. If you have just one, then that will be good as well. We can use just the 1 stitch marker, but 2 they're easier to use. You'll find out when we show you in the pattern. But if you've only got the 1, then that's fine. I would recommend some sort of locking stitch marker or the little rings that you can get that slot in. If you're going to use a piece of yarn, I would suggest quite a long piece, and then you just tie it in a little loose knot so it doesn't fall out. You'll see what I mean when we get to the pattern. You're going to need some yarn. I've got some 8-ply or double knit. I'm using the Red Heart Shimmer. It's 100 grams and it is about 3.5 ounces. It recommends a 4mm crochet hook, and it's colour number 4. This is the hot pink one with the sparkles. It's so pretty. And I'm going to pair it up with another 8-ply or double knit yarn, and this is the same thickness, so they go really well together. This is a Stylecraft yarn, the special one, and it's the colour Fondant. This is so pretty. I really like this pink, and it goes really well with the darker tone of the pink as well. So once we've got our yarn, and you can use worsted weight if you like, you will need a 5.5 or a 6mm crochet hook, which is a I or a J, I think, size crochet hook. It will work up a lot quicker because it's a thicker yarn, because it's equivalent to a 10-ply rather than an 8-ply. It's going to work up a lot quicker, and you may not need as many increased rounds as what I will be doing in the video. So it's up to you what size thickness of yarn you use. Just use the crochet hook that goes with that. So grab your yarn. We're going to make a magic ring or a magic circle. If you don't feel comfortable making that, you can also chain 4 and join with a slip stitch to form a ring. So what am I doing? Magic ring. So the way I do my magic rings is I just grab this end and put it over this end. So I'm just placing it on top. I pick up my yarn. I just hold these 2 strands with the fingers just so they don't fall apart. Put my crochet hook into the center of the circle. Grab my working yarn, pull through. I just grab hold of the strands there, just makes it easy for me to hold. And I just do a chain 1, and now that's all secure and it won't fall out. So what we need to do, if you've done a chain 4 and join, just do a chain 1 and that will be the same as that. So the first round, we don't have a colour A or a colour B yet because we want to decide that when we do round 2. So what we're going to do is we're going to single crochet into the ring. So I'm just holding it just so it's easier for me to work with. So into the circle, we're going to do a single crochet. We're going to half double crochet, wrap your yarn, go into the circle, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through all 3. I'm just going to pull that a bit smaller. And now we want to work 4 double crochets. So yarn over, go into the circle, pull up a loop, pull through 2 and pull through 2. I'm going to assume that you know how to do the double crochet. So it's yarning over, going in. We need 4 of these all together. So it's single, half, 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is where we grab our stitch marker and then we put it into that loop, and that just stops that coming undone if we accidentally pull out the yarn. So if you've got just a piece of yarn as your stitch marker, just tie a loose knot, put your yarn in and just tie a loose knot to stop this from coming undone. So grab your other colour and then we're going to join it into the centre, so I'm just working over both yarns. So go in the middle, grab your yarn, pull through, and I'm just going to do a chain 1 to secure that, and then pull this short piece at the back. And what you want to do when you join your yarn, see how mine's all the way over here? It should be next to the stitches over here. So what we're going to do is just grab it, pull it around. We can fix this up a little bit after as well if it moves around. So what we're going to do now is we need to do the same thing. So we need to do single crochet, half double crochet, and 4 double crochet, and it's all going into the center. Oops, was that right? It didn't look right. Maybe it was. One, 2, 3. So we need 4 altogether of the double crochet. So at the moment it's all strands of yarn and it's really a bit messy and a bit hard to hang on to, but that's pretty much how it's going to work just for the first few rounds till we get used to what we're doing. So we're going to pull our tail, which is that one, and it's going to close up the middle. So we should have 6 stitches of each colour, so I'm just going to check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And the single crochet is really tiny, but it is there. So now what we want to do is decide what colour we want to be A and what colour we want to be B. The colour that you want for the ridges, so for the ribbed section, these ridges here, is going to be colour A. So just decide which one you want to be the ridge one, and this will be colour A. So colour B will be this lighter pink, and it's sort of hidden and it doesn't create a ridge. And the rib section doesn't really show up on camera as well as it does. But these lines, the ridges, there we go, that's better. These ridges are colour A. And once you've decided, that's when we can start. So I'm going to put my dark pink as colour A. So I'm going to put my stitch marker in the other side. The reason we need 2 stitch markers, if you're going to put this down and walk away, you can put the other stitch marker over here. If you only had 1 stitch marker, you could put both loops onto that same one. So once you have decided which one you want to be colour A is the one that is going to do the double crochet, and colour B, which I'm choosing the lighter pink, is going to be the one that does the front post stitches. So when we're using the colour A, we're only doing double crochet. So into the next 6 stitches, we're going to work 2 normal double crochet. And when we get to that last stitch, see how it's gone all loose? sort of got all loose and big. So just grab the 2 loops up here and just pull it across. We want to work 2 into there as well. So we're going to swap our stitch marker over. So like I said, at the moment it's all threads everywhere, but it does get easier as it gets a little bit larger. So we finished with colour A, so that's that one there. I'm going to pop that back in there. And we're going to pick up colour B, which for me is the lighter pink. So, yeah, the threads everywhere. Where's the... Here it is. It's hiding. So now what we want to do is repeat what we just did with colour A, and then we do this throughout the project. Whatever we do with colour A, we do it with colour B, but colour A is working double crochet, and then colour B is doing the front post. But the actual increasing part of it is the same. Hope that didn't confuse you. So into the next 6 stitches, we're going to do front post double crochet, and we're going to work 2 of those. So it's yarning over, and the first single crochet, just this first one, is a little bit different. We're just going to go to the side of the stitch, because there's no stitches joined on this right hand side. So we're just going to the right of the stitch, it's just a little bit fiddly. You just want to make sure you get in that gap there. Go in there and work a double crochet. So it's actually a front post, but it's just a bit weird, this one. So again, go into that same space that we did, and then we're going to do a double crochet. So the next one is a front post, and it's going around the half double crochet from the previous round. So going in there, coming out the other side of the stitch, we're going to work a double crochet, and because we've gone around the post, it's called a front post stitch because we're working from the front of the work. So we're going to repeat this 6 times. We've already done it 2, so let's do it again. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so we finished with colour B, and now we're going to go back to colour A. So we need to swap over our stitch marker. I know it's a lot of swapping of the stitch markers, but trust me, if you pull a stitch out, it's hard to figure out where you're up to. You can do it, but it's a little bit difficult. It's easier to just have that stitch marker in there. So now we're going to start the next increase round, and remember what we do for this one we do for the other colour, except it's worked in the other stitch. So for this one we want to repeat it 6 times as well. It's going to work its way around and it's going to finish over here. So this round is the double crochet round. So what you're going to do is look back at the stitches you've done, and if it's going through the top of the stitch here, you know it's just a plain double crochet. There's no ridges at all. It's just a plain double crochet. So our repeat for this one is double crochet in the next stitch and 2 double crochets in the next. And I'm going to repeat this 6 times. So 1 double crochet in the next stitch and 2 double crochets in the next. And that 6 repeats will actually make us finish at the end over here. And if it doesn't, you know you've done something wrong. So into that last stitch, remember how we just pull the threads over here? And it's in that one there. And that's our increase. So now we want to swap our stitch marker back over. So we've just done colour B, colour A. So now we want to pick up colour B, which is the lighter pink. And this is the one that's doing our front post stitches. So, and you can tell that because when you pick the colour up, see how it's hang on, I just need to adjust. There we go. See how it's grabbing the front of the stitch here instead of going through the top of the stitch, so that you know how it's a front post. Once you get a few rounds in, it will be very easy for you to see because you'll be used to looking at it and knowing what you're looking at. So now we need to repeat what we just did for the increase section. So using a front post double crochet, it's one front post. I'll just say front post, otherwise you'll get sick of me saying front post double crochet. So it's front post around the next, and 2 front posts around the next one. So that's our repeat. We repeat this 6 times. So it's 1 front post around the next, and 2 around the next one. So it's 1 and then 2. Oops. So I've got 1, 2, 3. 4. 5. That's our last repeat. And what you'll notice too is that your yarns will be finishing opposite each other. See how they're finishing opposite each other? So that's another sort of guide to know if you're doing it right. So if you're finishing sort of, one's finishing here, one's over there, you'll know something's not quite right. And for my scarf, this is all the increasing that I'm going to do. So it's really not that much at all. And after this we go into just one. It'll be, even if it's a front post or a double crochet, it'll just be 1 in every stitch around. But if you want to add more increased rounds, this is quite a narrow scarf. This will be, I've got a sample sitting to the side. It'll be approximately 4 inches across when you finish your scarf. So if you want it wider, another increased round, you know how we did, so we did 1 double crochet and then an increase. The next round would be 2 double crochet and then an increase. And if it's the front post, it's a front post in the next 2 stitches, and then 2 front posts around the next. So I'll just give you a quick little visual on that. So the next increase round, you would actually swap to your other colour. Actually, let's do that so it doesn't confuse you. Oh, I've picked up my other stitch marker. I've got stitch markers everywhere. So our next increase round after this would be double crochet in the next 2 stitches, and increase into the next one. And you would repeat that around 6 times. So you would have 2 stitches and then an increase. If you want another round after that, it would be 3 stitches and then an increase. And then you would do the same for the other one, except you would do a front post stitch instead. Okay, so I'm not doing any more increased rounds, like I said, so what we do now is the easy bit. It's one stitch in every stitch around, so it's all double crochets for the length of our scarf. Of course, your other colour will be doing front post double crochets. And what I do, as you'll see, I just continue around until I can't go any further. And you'll see what I mean, because the other colour will finish. And this is a lot quicker than doing, you know how we just did half a round then half a round? This way is a lot quicker. Especially being a small project, you won't have to move your stitch marker as much. It's not too bad on bigger projects, but okay, so I normally just sort of crochet. I don't do that last stitch. I just find it's quicker. I don't have to worry about pulling my threads over. So then I put my stitch marker in that one. I've made quite a few of these spiral projects, so you kind of pick up things. And Zoe, that designed the original spiral hat that I did, said this in the hat, and not to worry about going halfway all the time. So what you could do, if you're not sure where your yarn should finish off, because we do need to finish when we got our length, we will need to finish opposites so that our increases, or sorry, our decreases work out okay. You will need to know where you've started and finished. So this one is just front posts all the way. And again, you just go all the way until you've got no more stitches to go around, and it will be when you get around here. So like I said, if you're not sure when we've got our length, your yarns need to finish opposites. So if you look at your middle here, you'll see that it's sort of half around is dark pink, half around is light pink. That's where you're going to finish off. So your dark pink is going to finish off, see where it started here? Dark pink's going to finish off here. And then when your light pink has started, your light pink is going to finish off over here. So what you could do, if you've got enough stitch markers like me, things are breeding, you could do this. Going all pink today, we've got pink stitch markers and everything. So you could just put stitch markers there, and then you'll know that you've got to follow finish opposites. But that's just an option if you wanted to do that. So you're going to continue on until your scarf is the length that you need. It does gain a little bit of length when we do the decreasing, but not much, because it kind of tapers down to the end. So I'll meet you when we have the length of our scarf done. So I have the length of my scarf done, and as you can see, I've got all my ends hanging out still and everything, because this project is awesome. We don't need to sew in any ends, because we're going to flip this inside out, and then the ends will be on the inside. So yee-haw, I can't stand sewing in ends. So my scarf, like I said, is approximately 4 inches wide. I'm just going to come in front of the camera with the tape measure. I continued until it was about 56 centimetres, or 144, oh, it's almost 57 inches, sorry, inches. 57 inches, or about 144 centimetres. That's how long I made my scarf. It wraps around my neck once. So depending on how long you want to make your scarf will depend on how long you need to make it. This is great because it's really easy to extend. So now we're going to start the decrease section, and that will make the other end of the scarf. So the end that you can see now is where we started. So now we need to just make the other end look like the beginning, which is quite easy to do. So let's go back to the workstation and get on with the rest of the pattern. So what we're going to do, you could actually have your scarf this way out, but whatever one you choose, that's the way it's got to stay. So we need to turn it inside out. I don't know why this reminds me of the, is it the Cheshire Cat on Alice in Wonderland? Oh, this is quite a long scarf. Alrighty, so we're going to turn it inside out. Oh. And all the ends that you didn't sew in are now sewn in. Woohoo! It's just like magic. Okay, so what was my colour A? Oh, colour A was, yes, my dark pink. So what we're going to do now is we're going to do our first round of decrease, and my last round of increase, was 1 double crochet and then 2 in the next. So whatever your last round of double crochet, get all my words mixed up, sorry. Whatever your last round of increase was, so if you did 2 double crochet and then an increase, that's what round you're going to start with. But like I said, mine was 1 double crochet and then an increase, so that's what I'm going to start with. But instead of doing an increase, because we want to make it smaller, we're going to use a decrease stitch. So what we're going to do is, so now we're working on the inside of the project, because this rib section is now the outside. But if you actually, even though we're on the inside of the project, we're still only working on the same side. We haven't changed. It's just now our project's inside out. So we're going to do 1 double crochet in the next stitch and then decrease over the next 2. But like I said, if you did a different amount on your last increase round, you're going to do that instead. So this is how we do our decrease. We stop before we do our normal double crochet, like grabbing that and pulling through, and then we just go into the next stitch, pull up a loop, pull through 2, and then pull through all 3. Double crochet into the next stitch, and also we're going to repeat this 6 times. So remember how we've been going with the repeat of 6? That's what we're going to do. So we've got a double crochet, and then the next one is a decrease. So yarning over, going in, pulling up, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, go into the next stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over and pull through all 3. So it's 1 into the next one, and you will need to turn it around as we go. And of course my repeat is going to finish over on the end here. So next one is a decrease, and the next one is just a normal double crochet. So I'm going to turn the camera off, and then we're going to work this all the way across. Okay, so I just thought of something then. I had to add in a new colour. I actually had to cut my yarn and then add in that new yarn. If you're not sewing in your ends, you might want to just tie. I've just tied, can you see that little knot there? I've just tied 2 knots because we're not sewing it in, because normally I don't tie any knots or anything, and I just crochet over them or sew them in. But I'm just tying knots just because it's not secured anywhere, but now because I've tied a knot it is. So I'm just going to pull that through because you want that inside. You want that on the inside. Okay, so we've got to find our stitch marker, and we're going to change colours. Where are we? So, picking up the colour B. So now we're doing our front post stitches, and again you're repeating what we just did on that round with the other colour. So it was 1 front post stitch and of course if you had more in between your increases you're going to work that. And then it's a front post decrease, so again going under there, pulling up, pulling through 2, keep your loops on there, and then the next stitch, pull up, pull through 2, and then pull through all 3. And you're going to repeat what you need to do 6 times. So we're picking up colour A again, so I've just swapped my stitch markers over. So this is where we're going to get tangled up again because it's getting smaller. It's only for a few rounds. So now we need to do the next round of decrease, and we need to do one less round as one less stitch in between our increases what we did just before. So I had 1 double crochet and then a decrease, so I need to do 1 less. So now in every stitch it's going to be a decrease. If you had 2 double crochets in between your decreases, this round is going to be 1 double crochet in between your decreases. So because we're getting smaller, we need to drop off one of our stitches. So this one for me is decrease in every stitch around. So it's just doing our decrease. Then again, in the next part, we're going to do a decrease. So you're going to work it over the 2 stitches. And we need to do this until we have done it 6 times. So it'll be 6 lots of decrease. So that's 3, 4, 5, 'So I am finding this a little bit fiddly, so don't think I'm not. And and 6. So again, swapping your stitch marker, and then so for colour B, which is doing our front post stitches, our decreases are very slightly different. It's still a decrease, but it's just where we're putting our crochet hook. So we're going to work a decrease, so it's around the post as normal. That part's the same. But when we come up to here, see how we've got 2 stitches? Got 1 and 2. We've got 2 posts. Well, they've actually become 1 because it was decreased on the previous row. Now, that's fine if we're working into the top where that hole is underneath the loops. But because we're working around the post, if we work around each post separately, it's actually not going to decrease. So we have to work around it like these 2 posts are 1. So we yarn over, we go around the back, but we go around the back of the 2 stitches. So normally we would come out in between. So capturing 2 stitches in there, then working our decrease. And my voice has gone all croaky. So again, we're going to work a decrease. So the first part is going around just the normal post there. But the second part of it is capturing the 2 stitches. So normally we'd come out here, but we're going to come out in the next space there. So working those. And we're going to repeat this around 6 times. So now we have 6 stitches left of each colour. And we're going to repeat what we did for the very first round. So remember how we did single crochet, half double crochet, and then 4 double crochet? But we're just going to work it in reverse because we're just working our way down to the start of the spiral. So first of all, we need to do 4 double crochets. So into the next 4 stitches, and you will have this tiny little hole that you're trying to work in. So in the next 4 stitches, you're going to work 1 double crochet. And into the next stitch we're going to work a half double crochet, And in the next one, which is our very last stitch here, a single crochet. And this is the end of our scarf. So what we need to do is finish off, but we're going to finish off with a long tail this time, because we do need it for sewing in, just to shut the little hole that it just leaves. So we're just going to finish that off. I'm going to pick up our other colour. Would you believe? Look, it isn't the end of the ball. I had to cut my yarn. It's always like 3 or 4 stitches to go. So this is about the 5th time I've filmed this section, so you'll wonder why I've got all these strands of yarn everywhere, because I've already attached them. So we just got to repeat what we did for the darker pink. So we're going to do a front post stitch, but we're going to capture the 2 stitches we got there. We wanted to do this around the next 4 stitches. So as you can see, my yarn's already joined. I completely stuffed up this round when I was filming. So that's 1. So remember capturing the 2. 2, 3, and 4. The next stitch is a front post half double crochet, but it's got to go around the 2 stitches. And the next one is a front post single crochet, which I haven't really used that much in my patterns, but I'm going to go in here, go around, and just work a single crochet. We're going to finish that off. Again, we need to leave a reasonable sized loop for sewing. So pull that tight. I'm going to get rid of these strands. That's what was confusing me when I was filming before, and I'll try and put it in as a blooper at the end. Because I know what I'm doing all the time. Not. Alrighty, so we're going to get our sewing needle. Why is that not disappearing? These 2 ends have given me the most grief, the whole scarf. Oh, get in there. There we go. Did I mention it was giving me grief? Why is it not disappearing? Oh, so professional right now. I hope you're laughing, because it's like a circus, not a crochet lesson. Right, hopefully that's the last of them 2. So now grab any of your colours, doesn't matter which one, because they're both the same. We're going to do both the same with each one. You're going to have this hole that's here, but that's perfectly okay because we're going to fix it. What we're going to do is we're going to weave our needle in and out of the crochet stitches, and we're going to gather the top together. So you can go up to where the other colour starts. And then grab your other colour, do the same thing. Threaded, you're going to pull tight, and that gathers up the hole. And it does leave a tiny little hole, but we can fix that because we're awesome. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish it off. So I've just put the yarn needle through the loop. I'm going to make sure that's tight, and then so it keeps it gathered. And then we should have done the same for the other one too. Sometimes I have really good filming days and other days turn out like this. Like a circus. So we're going to finish that one off too. What is going on today? Really? Really? I'm getting excited because it's almost Christmas holidays. At the time of this filming, I have... What day is it? It's Tuesday. 3 more days left. Yoo-hoo! And see how we've got this little hole? It's probably about... Get your pinky finger in there. We're just going to grab stitches from either colour and just stitch it closed. Try and make it as neat as you can. And then I'm just going to finish off that colour. And there you go, the centre's all closed up and you can't tell that it wasn't, you can't tell there was a hole there before. So we can put our end down into the work. So put it as close as you can to where the thread comes out there. We're going to feed it through. And don't catch the back of your work with your needle. And then pull it out. And if it's short enough, it should just disappear back in. There we go. And this one needs to be cut because it's quite long. So I hope you enjoyed this project. I hope you enjoyed the laughs and the chaos along the way. It doesn't always turn out perfect. Oh, I hope it entertained somebody. So I've just finished that off again and we're just going to sew in this end. So please share your creation on our Facebook page. I would love to see the colour combinations that you've used. There's also a matching hat that goes with this. The link to that is in the description box. Make sure you subscribe to this channel because there's always crochet tutorials coming out. That looks really good. Love this sparkle. There's an end sticking out there. And then just make sure you've got no end sticking out, which I'm just checking, which I don't think I do. Oh, I've got my beginning ones, so we need to just fix those up as well. So just pull those tight. And now my scarf's, there we go, eating my needle. So yeah, subscribe to this channel. There's at least 2 tutorials every week, including other random things, but mostly crochet tutorials. We have a newsletter on Bob Wilson 123. The link that you need for that is also in the description box below. We're going to finish sewing these ends off camera. So, until next time, happy crocheting. So I'd only done 3, I thought I'd done a lot more than that. So you're going to work yourself around, so it's... This is probably the hardest part of the whole scarf, because it's all fiddly. Gotta get in that tiny little hole. So that should be 4. It's really confusing me because all these strands of yarn. I'm being truthful here, confused. 1. I'm going to fix this off camera. Talk about a blooper. I'll be back.